There are, well, hello. There are some big things on Kickstarter, on GameFound right now that I got to show you guys. Some huge campaigns I've been looking forward to for a long time. So some of these I've even reviewed. So let's go ahead and dive in. And my dog's excited. I hope you are too. You want to tell them to donate? Is that it? You want to tell them to donate? Yes. Sawyer says that if you like the video and you've liked the channel, my coverage of the industry, you can still donate to the 2024 fundraiser until the end of February. Again, thank you so much to everybody who has donated it. We're almost at $1,000, which will be fantastic. I can't wait to do that. And if we can't even reach the 9,000, I have this amazing crown I'll be sending out, and it was going to be super cool. It's an awesome crown. So there's a lot of games there that I'll be sending out, obviously, as thank you gifts to the donators. Thank you guys so much for donating. And with that, let's go ahead and get into it. A Song of Ice and Fire Tactics, a tabletop miniatures skirmish game by CMON. Get used to seeing this on GameFound because they have the exclusive. If you haven't seen that video yet, it's linked down in the description below. And subscribe so you don't miss my videos because I talked all about it. This is doing quite well. It's already almost at 1 million, so 4 days left to go. So obviously with the surge, it's going to jump over 1 million. And this is an interesting one because obviously it does have the gigantic dragon, which we'll go over how big that is and how much it costs. But as you can see, like the whole thing, $260, that's actually not that bad, right? It's way cheaper than I thought it would be. I suspect that the wings obviously are going to come in separate pieces. That's how the Joan of Arc legendary dragon was as well. And you attach those in, and so it ships smaller, which kind of helps a lot with that when it comes to the pieces. The miniatures look great. I like the fact that they are textured bases. That's obviously a nice trend in the industry. And these minis look like they were built pretty solid as well when it comes to design. They're definitely designed with that idea in mind. So that's really good. These do all work with their tabletop game, but this is a board game skirmish game, right? So there is a little bit of a difference there, just in kind of general style and stuff like that. This Drogon's Fury, amazing. As you can see, 260, you get all of this stuff, which is great. You get the Battle of the Trident, plus all the stretch goals, plus the dragon itself that you get to fight and play on. I think they've been doing that better and better, which is kind of cool to see them really interact with those bigatures that they have. And yeah, these look great. A lot of them look really good. It's very much a whole bunch of armored people, but I think they did a good enough job separating like this pose right here. It's a great pose. Same with this one. Like there's a wide variety of, they're not all just like this, which this is fine, especially when they're not all like this, and it's a really good pose, right? A lot of variety when it comes to the different poses and stuff, especially for humanoids, which is very nice. I think that's great. Also, these dice look great. I love the black and red. As long as that red is light enough, I think that's going to look great. And yeah, then you can see, again, new style, different style. That looks good. So it all looks great. I mean, even these like flowy leather straps that these are, I mean, just looks really, really good. Very, very happy to see that. That's a cool mask as well. So I think they're going to be great. They should be pretty good. I like it. Those one, I'm not big on the yellow and black, but that's okay. That's okay. You can see the map, very obvious, kind of where enemies go and where you go and stuff like that, and what the terrain looks like and stuff. They do have the terrain overlays, so there's a lot of different options available there, and of course you get all the different cards and stuff like that, agendas and stuff. The coin tokens look really, really good. They make those almost look like real ones, but that's cardboard, right? And it looks like it's metal. This is 78 centimeters, so 780 millimeters tall. Thank you, metric system, for making that easy for me. That's pretty big. And not only that, but I don't know if this is a general thing, but it looks like it goes higher than that. But this might be a general graphic. I don't know if did they actually measure to the middle part of the wing. I think it's just the graphic design doesn't fully show it. Kind of like how that doesn't quite look, it goes all the way to the edge there. Same kind of thing. But you can see the size difference. Massive. It's funny because the box doesn't look that big, but I suspect that he comes out of the box. He's in his own separate box. It looks pretty cool. There are 4 scenarios for 1 to 2 players. You get to play on that, which is great. And that's because I believe the dragon itself actually like interacts, and so that's where you can do like the 1 player with that, which is pretty cool. So definitely neat to see. I think that's pretty cool. And as you can see here, they do have stretch pay enabled. So if you want that one, you can get it for as low as $65 a month. not too shabby. And if you look at the actual pledge separation, right, you get 1,605, and then of course the stuff without all the big one, right? The core box only 38. That's, you know, whatever. Most people want the stretch goals and stuff. And sure enough, when it's just $20 more and you get all the stretch goals plus expansion, it's almost a no-brainer to do this. And yes, as you can see, over 1,000 more people have done that versus this, which kind of makes sense. So this dragon, that's a great painted dragon too. It looks really good. They do have all these add-ons. Don't be too confused by a lot of this though, because most of this is actually from stretch goals and you get to add more of it essentially. So like if you come down here and you look through all this, which they've been adding some great new characters, by the way. I wish they showed that off actually a little bit better. So they've been really good with that. But a lot of what they've been doing is this little, like a fireplace terrain, right? Or here are some tables, or here's, you know, some of this rubble, or here's the roasting pig wagon stuff and all that. Their day one, by the way, was Mag the Mighty. It looks fantastic. These look super cool. And then, of course, now they go over the game. Honestly, it looks like a pretty good campaign here. I think that's pretty awesome. You can see how they look painted. They look great. And these look like very real miniatures too, which I appreciate. Yeah, just looks good. Their shipping, by the way, not too bad. Even with the dragon, and most states in the US, you're looking at about $110, 62 to 110. That's not too shabby. Obviously, it gets really big if you're in, like, you know, Bolivia or whatever, or, you know, Guadalupe, or then it gets kind of expensive on some of these. But for the most part, not too bad. Now, most of the EU is right there again, about 62 to 106. I suspect there's some, you know, specific cases there where they're paying it down. In other words, they're making it cheaper than it would be otherwise. If you're in mainland China, it's only 46. That's pretty nice. 107 for Hong Kong. So overall, I think pretty good. UK gets it for 96. UK, that does very well in the UK hub apparently. So that's kind of interesting. But yeah, anyway, less than 300, less than I expected, that's for sure. So that's nice. Normally this is like $180 itself kind of thing, right? So not too bad. It does help that it is less plastic, right? Because the wings make up so much of it, and then it's kind of got a more slender body. It's not like some humongous, you know, thicker piece of plastic. So that's kind of nice, I suppose. Moving on from that, we have Eve, War of New Eden. Now this one only has 66 at time of recording hours to go. By the time you're seeing this, I think it's 2 days from me recording this. So, like, yeah, you're going to want to, like, check in on this, right? This is on its last leg here. So if you're still interested, 544,000 raised. So they're already at over 500,000, and they haven't hit the 48-hour mark at time of recording. So it'll be interesting to see where they go from there. Obviously, Titan Forge Games has been doing actually quite good. They've definitely grown as a board game manufacturer. The big thing you can do here is get everything bigger, which is kind of cool, I suppose. You know, they had these really big sets at events like Essenspiel, like Gen Con, stuff like that, right? And they had these huge sets with these big things. I'm like, that's cool, but, you know, you can't actually play with them that big. Yeah, you can. You can make everything bigger, which is pretty cool. So as you can see, they have the big ship, and you can see the size difference, right? They're pretty big ships, of course. The Titan expansion there is pretty cool. It's your typical kind of 4X style kind of thing. Here's Havoc with a whole new set. And they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I think 8 different models. 36 ships in total. That's the typical for all of them, by the way, is that. Then you have Azrael. This is another Titan, but it's just a specific Titan there. So maybe a little bit more expensive, but it's got a few things with it as well. And then you have the Secession, which again just adds more cards and stuff to play, which is obviously really good. So look, you're looking at about 129 euro, 219 euro. This gives you, I think, everything here. And then you have the Capital, 399 euro. So it is pricey, but they get really big, 200% larger. This pledge will include your tabletop experience to a truly astronomical level. It includes a core game in which the components, boards, tiles, tokens, dice, and of course the miniatures are 2 times larger. Now, my one issue with that is that's just the core game, right? So it's a core game and stretch goals. And you get like a EVE Online starter pack, but it doesn't include like this stuff. So I don't know if the Titans are bigger or what, but it gets a kind of odd in that sense, if that hopefully that makes sense to you guys. There's a whole lot of other stuff you can get, of course. And again, these I think have been unlocked in stretch goals as well. And then you can get no, you can buy them separately. So here's a collector's box for this. And the collectors, if you recall, is the one that is, no, it's Capital, not collector. So I think that's just getting specific expansions that you want. Perhaps that's it. Either way, there's pirates and stuff as well. So they've been unlocking a whole lot of different stuff here, like the resources, moon and planetary models, right? There's the control flags, right? Here's the minerals. The dedicated inlays, that'll be kind of nice, of course. So I think they're kind of done unlocking stuff. I think they pretty much got it all. So it is what it is now. Feel free to check it out. Again, everything is linked down in the description below. Next up, we have Aeon's in the Descent. 11 days to go, 281,000 raised. Very impressive, I feel, for how long this has been going. This is one of those card games that have been around for a very long time. And they're just adding more and more to it, which is what they keep doing. That's what they're doing with the Descent here. So they have a Friends and Foe module. There's been a lot of modules. This one's designed by David Turtsky. In other words, it's like solo people are going to love it. I know he's very popular with that. So that's kind of cool. And they have elemental tokens as well that are placed on enemies that then once you kill them, or, once it resolves, then you get a positive effect in return. So that's kind of different as well. And of course, there's the Aeon's and the Descent product, which has a new narrative, 4 new nemesis, 6 new mages, plus 4 friends and 4 foes with over 400 cards. Includes 2 new small expansions when you back this project. I love this little blurb right here. This tells you right up front, hey, this is what's new. And it just bullet point listed, this is new, right? Which is great. So here's these 2 other ones that they were talking about that will not be available retail. This has 2 mages, nemesis, a friend, and a foe. And this right here has a whole lot of essentially daily unlocks. So it looks like an expansion free to backers comprised of daily unlocks. So that's kind of what they're seeing there under milestones. And then, of course, new add-ons as well. So they have a whole bunch of stuff, a playmat and accessories. And, I mean, just tons and tons and tons of stuff, right? So if you like Aeon's In, this is what you want to get. If you haven't got Aeon's In before, they do offer a metric ton of stuff, a ton of stuff. So this is like your basic $69. You get pretty much the new stuff here, right? This is the whole new stuff. Once you get these other expansions that I just showed off, that's 124. And then they have these waves. Now, the waves are kind of confusing to me because see, it says like plus 2 waves of content, 3 waves of content, right? Now, these waves, it makes it sound like shipping waves, like, hey, this comes out then, and this comes out then, this comes out then. Wave, when it comes to crowdfunding games, is kind of an overloaded word, right? I don't think that's exactly what it's talking about here. I think what it's talking about here is previous campaigns and stuff that they've done, different groups of things that go together that make sense, right? Here's wave 4, here's wave 3, here's wave 7. And as you can see, there's a little bit of a surcharge if you do a big box. I think that's what it means, but it sounds like the wave is like, oh, well, wave 1 comes and then wave 2 comes, like a sequential chronological thing. I don't think that's what they're talking about here. So if you want to get other stuff, if you want to get everything, $530 gets you all the waves of content. Hopefully that makes sense. I don't like that they say that. It gets kind of confusing. Here's, sleeves and stuff like that you can get, of course. It's all there. Here's the milestones, right? So they're adding all sorts of stuff there. It's tons and tons of cards. That's really the unlock here, right? New spells, new foes, new treasures, new friends, new gems, right? All that jazz. So anyway, and yeah, it's, when you get these repeated campaigns, it can get kind of big, it can get kind of confusing, and they use terms like waves, which I don't think you should use unless you actually mean shipping waves. That's how I read it, at least. I don't know. You let me know. Maybe I'm crazy, but anyway, that's that. Next up, Tainted, Grail, TTRPG, A Song of Dying World. This says at 261,000, so doing quite well. Tainted Grail is kind of a depressing place, though. So, like, I guess if you want to be depressed in your tabletop RPG experience, you can play this game because it's gonna be sad. There is one thing I'm gonna mention it just because I notice these things and it bothers me because then I don't feel like there's a strong pick for me. But I don't want any kind of like weird cringe stuff coming up. So you guys, don't be idiots in the comments. Which I know you guys won't, but I always worry about that because the internet is the internet after all. So they're unlocking all sorts of stuff, right? They have a lot of cards and stuff like that they're doing, but otherwise it seems to all be pretty set here, which is cool. So they have a few minis, they have some cool dice, a beautiful artwork all throughout, of course. I mean, that just looks amazing. That's awesome. I love it. So that's really cool. It looks like a very cool, oh, look at that art. My goodness, that looks great. Very cool RPG book. I would love to have this as an RPG book. I'm going to go down real quick to the characters. So here are the characters here, right? You get 5 characters. You get this lady here. This is kind of like a fighter lady. And you get this like kind of priest kind of dude, and then you get this like herbalist kind of dude, and you get this magic kind of dude, and then you get this warrior kind of chick lady as well. One of the things that bothers me is it's flipped from the quote unquote norm, the stereotype, right? Where the guy's the fighter and then the woman is like the magician and the herbalist. Let's the support characters go to the females, the strong fighters go to the males. So this is a flip on that. And I don't actually care too much about that. You guys, if you've seen me for a long time, you understand that I hate characters that smile in these kind of games. And I feel like all the guys are like she looks like she's about to like go kill somebody, right? And then he looks like look at that. He's like smirk. He's even got his little dimple. He's like, hey, how's it going? I'm happy in my Tainted Grail world. And then this guy again, he's like, look, I found this branch. I'm so happy. Again, kind of was a smirk. And again, it seems like kind of a little bit of a smirk. They're definitely these happy guys that are just happy to be there. And then you get these like serious women that look like, you know, and maybe it's too overt for me. But like, I wouldn't want to play any of these characters. It just, I mean, I'd probably play Maeve here, I would think. Just because I like the way in the art that she's holding the sword. Though, notice she's not holding it in the miniature. It's forward instead of, if it was backwards, it'd be cool. It's cool the moment you do that. Everybody that grew up in the 90s knows that. That's how it is. Anyway, I don't like smiling characters, so I couldn't pick any of the three dudes. So then it's just either these or that. That's just for the mini. Obviously, you don't have to do all this stuff, right? It's something that I notice, and it bothers me because I just want. I mean, maybe I'm too stuck on archetypes and stuff like that. It's why I like Lord of the Rings. It's why I like Star Wars, right? The whole like, oh, farmer, goes and saves the world from, the evil, oppressive person, right? Like, I get it. It just, I like it, okay? So, like, I want to just play a huge barbarian guy, or whatever. The mage guy is kind of okay, but again, the smirk kills me. It kills me. I don't want my people happy. Ugh. That's probably weird to me. All right, Knee Deep in Hexes, 2-player skirmish strategy board game. 16 days ago, 74,000 raised. This was really popular at Essence Spiel, I remember. It's very much a 90s PC style RTS game. These RTS games are becoming more and more popular. I think some do it better than others. I couldn't tell you how this one does it. It sounds to me like this has a whole lot of different game modes, and some of those do it more than others when it comes to simulating that kind of experience on the tabletop board game. Now, when you play, see, you mentioned StarCraft and stuff like that. RTSs, there's several, I think, important parts here, and why board games kind of struggle with a little bit. Part of RTS is the resource gathering, the base building, and the unit creation, right? And then like countering units among one another. That's very common. Normally there's a fog of war map system in play, and perhaps a few other things. But that's the main 4 things I would argue for an RTS. Except there's a fifth, and the fifth is the fact that it's real-time strategy. It's who can react faster, and oh my gosh, I'm getting Zerg rushed over here, and, oh man, all I have is Protoss, so all I need is more pylons, or, whatever it is. Like, the point is, when you watch, like, especially competitive people play RTSs, they hotkey different map locations, and they're super fast, because you have to be. You bring in people here, and then bring in people here, and that's a large appeal to RTSs for a lot of people. These games don't typically do that. We're seeing that in FPSs where they have a little bit of a timer and they do a lot of that kind of stuff, right? Like the 6 Siege style stuff, but that's not always the case. And so it just kind of depends, right? But the real-time part of the strategy is a big point for a lot of people. I tend to play it only single player where I can pause because I suck, but for other people that are really into RTSs, often that real-time portion of it is important. This looks pretty cool, though. I like all the different minis and stuff. They do look fairly plain. It's because they're fairly small. They do make bigger versions with more detail, but that's slow going. I'll kind of point that out. I love the terrain, the 3D terrain tiles. I think that's super cool. Put the little cube in there for like resources and stuff. I think that's awesome. They do have a lot of card gameplay and stuff too, and I think that's where a lot of the kind of combat stuff goes and where you get that little bit of the feel. That's what they're trying to do to it. Again, I don't know how real that is, but that's kind of the idea. Either way, $59 USD for the core box, $60 seems about right. $140 for essentially 2 more expansion packs on top of that. Again, I think that seems pretty nice actually. And you can add a $35 neoprene matte, which is a little bit cheaper than a lot of others, which I appreciate. More expensive than it needs to be, but neoprene mattes, often they're pretty good profit makers and can offset making less on the board games, which I'm okay with as well. They do a good job of breaking down the game here, and I do really appreciate that, where it really shows kind of how to go about it. They have several videos as well, which you can follow through with. I wanted to show this right here. This is like what they're talking about, where bigger guns. So this one from here to this new larger detailed model, and obviously it looks way better. You can see it barely looks like the same thing, right? And they're doing that across the board as they unlock stuff, which is nice. But see, they haven't done this new taint design yet. It's all blurry, so I can't see it either. It'd be nice if they were all like that, but they're not, right? So it'd just be a few. And it might be a little weird if only some of them are. So it is kind of a dangerous thing to do. But this extra detailed version does look very nice. I do quite like that one. Either way, yeah, feel free to check them out. They actually look fairly cheap. Like I said, they were quite popular at the actual conventions. If you played them at one of the conventions, do let me know your thoughts on it. It does look pretty nice. Next up, Dante's Inferno is coming out. As you can see, their last update was like 7 days ago. I'm not going to jump too much into that. If we go to the project here, at the time of recording, this is just about to launch. Obviously, that means it has launched for you guys. So I want to let you know this is available. February 20th is when it comes on. And you do have a early bird first 48 hours thing where you actually get Dante the Poet as a miniature with this little, like, you know, quill that, as you can see, is an actual in-game thing, which is also super cool. I'm excited for this. I really am, guys. I've had a ton of fun with what I've been able to play, what I've seen other people play. They've had a ton of fun, which is always kind of nice. And of course, you can get Foreteller to really get that narrative delivered to you in a professional way, which is cool. Boss Battler, no downtime, cinematic encounters, dynamic battlefield. That's really good. The no downtime is kind of important. It's very quick to set up and stuff. It's not one of these boss battles that takes up like 3 tables worth of stuff. And yet it's still very chunky, you know, combat and stuff like that, but it plays really smooth. It plays more like a normal board game, but as a boss battler. Hopefully that kind of makes sense. It just, when it comes to like setup and tear down and stuff like that, which I do appreciate. And of course the dynamic battlefield, I've talked about that. The 3D terrain and shifting and all the different stuff and being able to throw things and pick things up and the boss doing that, all that. It's also very, very cool, of course. So it kind of shows everything here, you know, everything you can get. And the one thing I will say, these minis are very well designed. I feel they look great. And I mentioned this to them as well, but I feel there's too much added texture here. It looks like they're made out of stone. They're going to be plastic, right? So like his skin isn't going to have like these like cracks and junk in it, like it's like some stone thing, right? It's going to be normal skin. So just as an FYI, this helps look good on the render, but just don't expect the, you know, plastic, you know, tip of the spear to look like that, because it's not going to. This is a texture add-on. Awakened Realms, I think, started that trend, and ever since then, it's actually been getting more higher and higher. And I tend not to like I already dislike the fact that we do renders now. We used to not. It used to actually have the pictures of the miniatures. I don't know if you guys remember back in the day. Way back in the day, we used to not have renders. It used to be a big thing where we're like, oh, they're just renders. That was a big thing because it was new. And now we're like texturing renders like stone. So it just, I just show me what you're buying. That's what I want to see, of course. This is, again, when it comes to the no downtime, this is one of the things we're talking about. All 9 circles are in its own box. All the components you need are in there, so you just take it and you put it back in and all that, and it goes in and out super easy, and I do appreciate that. As the person who is setting up and tearing stuff down, and just, that's one of the worst parts of board gaming in my experience. I love playing the game. I don't like setting up the game, right? So anything that helps with that, obviously, is good. Limbo, you guys have seen quite a bit of. Lust, this mini, I've seen this in person. Well, not in person, but like I've seen it in video. Looks fantastic, and I love the fact that he can throw the spear. That's super cool. Gluttony looks great. I've seen this one as well. It looks so cool. I love the mouth with these heads coming out of the mouth. It looks super cool. Avarice looks great. Fun fact, when I met my wife, her online handle, her name was Avarice. I probably should... that should have been a warning sign, but whatever. Anyway, Wrath. Again, these look cool. I like the idea that there were 3 smaller ones versus some large one. That's super nice. Heresy, again, another great one. That's the de facto person you see on the actual box. And then, of course, you have Violence and Fraud. And then finally, Treachery, which also looks super duper cool. 90mm base. These are getting big. You can see all the other stuff you can get. Also, there's quite a bit here. I like the fact that they're showing that off, and then you can see people talking about it and see more of it here. There is more, obviously, because it's launched, so feel free, again, to check the link down in the description below. Next up, Dying Light. It's right there. I'll be unboxing it. I'll be showing it off to you guys. This is coming out here real soon, so be on the lookout for that. I'll be unboxing it, be playing it. I'll tell you about it, so stay tuned for that, of course. Looks super cool. Love the fact that there's like terrain and stuff like that. Like, that's cool. Love it. And again, look, all sculpted bases. Fantastic. I love that that's going there now. And it also has a true solo mode, and its dice allocation was push your luck. I like both those things, so it sounds like a lot of fun. Next up, Doomguard was canceled. They will be back. They did raise 48,000 out of the 50,000, so they were close. 380 backers, not too bad. But either way, they will be coming back. So if you're expecting that, keep a lookout. It will be back, I'm sure. I think they were pretty close. And guys, that is it. That is another news roundup. I hope you enjoyed it. It's been a while. It's been a while. It's fun. There's a lot of cool stuff out there, and I am super pumped for it all. If there's anything that I need to look into, of course, let me know in the comments below. And let other people know, too, because they'll be down there as well. If you liked the video, of course, like it. If you want to see more coverage like that unboxing, feel free to subscribe. I always appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day. Take care. Bye, guys.